Greetings my beautiful viewers. Are you, just like me, a tea lover? And do you want to take your favorite tea everywhere you go? And you have an hour to sew? Then stay tuned for this video. In this first episode of DIY under an hour, I'm going to show you how to make your own tea wallet. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to discover some more DIY that you can make under an hour. And also give me a big thumbs up. The supplies you will need are a cutting board, a rotary cutter or a fabric scissor, a ruler of your choice, an erasable fabric marker, clips or pinning needles, a fabric hole puncher, a snap button fastener and a snap button, fabric and matching thread, an iron board and an iron, and of course a sewing machine. First of all, I ironed my fabric so it's nice and flat. Then I folded the fabric right sides together. With my Omni Grid and rotary cutter, I'm going to cut my fabric on the desired dimensions. I'm starting to cut off a little stripe to make my edge nice and straight. The measurements I'm going to use is 26 cm by 30 cm. That's about 10¼ inch by 11¾ inches. So I'm placing my Omni Grid at 26 cm. My Omni Grid is 15 cm, so because I folded my fabric, I can use the whole side of my Omni Grid as guidance. And voila, my first piece of fabric. This is going to be the inner layer of my tea wallet. The fabric for the outer layer has a design, so I have to make sure that the design is in the right direction. I'm using my example as guidance. So this side has to be 26 cm or 10¼ inch, and the other side 30 cm or 11¾ inch. I have to fold my fabric this way to use the same method for cutting this piece of fabric. And voila, my second piece of fabric. In the next step, I'm taking my Omni Grid and my erasable fabric marker, and I'm going to measure ½ centimeter on every side and draw a line. This is going to be my seam allowance. If you use inches, you can measure out 1/4 inch. And I'm doing the exact same thing on my other piece of fabric. With right sides together, I'm laying down both pieces of fabric on top of each other. I'm secure them in place with some clips. For this step you can also use some pinning needles. I'm using these clips because I'm totally in love with them. They don't make any holes in your fabric, so you can use them on any type of fabric you want, even leather or paper. The fabric stays nicely even and you can use them on a thick layer of fabric. They are so much easier than pinning needles. Now I'm ready to start sewing. I'm going to stitch them together with a straight stitch all around the sides, but I'm leaving a gap of 5 cm or 2 inches, so it makes turning the fabric with right sides out much easier. Don't forget to secure your thread at the beginning and at the end. With a push on a button, my machine does this automatically. If you don't have this feature on your machine, you can secure your thread by sewing a couple of stitches back and forward. I'm using the drawn line as a guidance. At the corners I lift my sewing feet up with my needle in the fabric. Then I turn my fabric and place my sewing feet back down. I'm finished stitching all around the sides and I already trimmed the corners. So if I pull my fabric right side out, my corners will be straight. I'm also using a tool to cut in those corners. Making them straight is much easier that way. Make sure not to use any sharp pointed tools so you don't damage your fabric. And again we will iron the whole thing. Now I'm going to top stitch 2 sides very close to the edge. These are the shortest sides and the sides that I will be folding in later. On both sides I'm also going to draw a line about 5 cm or 2 inches from the edge. I'm going to top stitch on these lines, so folding in will be much easier and the wallet will keep its shape much better. close the wallet, I'm using a snap button on another piece of fabric that's attached on the other side of the wallet. To make this, I've cut out another piece of fabric. The dimension of this piece of fabric are 5 cm by 15 cm or 2 inches by 6 inches. I'm just folding this fabric in half lengthwise, the right sides together, and stitched it on half a centimeter or a quarter inch from the open edge. Then I turned it right sides out and used the safety pin to make it easier. After ironing it, I closed up both ends by tucking in the frayed fabric for about a quarter of an inch, then top stitched it very close to the edge. Now I'm going to attach both pieces together. To do so, I'm measuring out the middle of one side that's going to be folded in. I secure the little piece of fabric in place by stitching a box on top. Only a few stitches to go to finish our project. Do you remember those 2 lines I stitched on? Those come in handy right now. I'm going to fold in both sides and give it a quick press with my iron. Then I'm going to divide my length in 3 pieces. The length is now 24 centimeters or about 9.5 inches. So I'm drawing a line at 8 centimeters from both sides. Now I have 3 equal pieces, and that's going to create 6 pockets for tea bags. I'm also going to stitch along the sides to close them. I'm using my clips again to make sure everything stays in place. I'm securing the pockets on the edge by stitching forwards and backwards a couple stitches. The only thing left to do is to put on this snap button. To make sure the button is on the right place, I'm folding my wallet as it's going to be when I'm closing it. Then I position everything on place and mark the fabric with a dot. Make sure that you fasten it quite loose, so you can close your wallet even if there are a bunch of tea bags in there. With my fabric hole puncher, I'm making a hole on the marked dot on the fabric. Then, with my fastener, I'm snapping the snap button in place. Be sure you put the right piece of the button on top. And I'm doing the exact same thing on the other marked dot. The only thing missing now is my favorite tea to take with me. Well, this is it for this video. Now you are the proud owner of your own DIY tea wallet. So if you haven't done it before, please subscribe and give me a big thumbs up, and see you next time. Goodbye!